Yo, what's up, internet? We are back after the 4th of July weekend, and we are going to do the Temur land destruction deck. That deck box, I don't know what the fuck's going on there. I haven't used it yet, though. It looks like an angel. Like, you have to really focus your eyes to see what's going on there. It looks like some sort of angel wearing a crown and a bunch of eagles. Kind of reminds me of Birdemic. If you've never seen that movie, you should probably watch it at least once in your life. I've probably seen it like 20 times because it's just so bad. But we'll go through the deck list real quick, and then I'll explain why I chose what I chose as usual. Alright, real quick. 1 Peel from Reality, 4 Pestermite, 1 Banefire, 1 Shock, 2 Anger of the Gods, 3 Tectonic Rift, 4 Demolish, 1 Stormbreath Dragon, 1 Inferno Titan, 2 Charmbreaker Devils, 4 Cultivate, 4 Mold Shambler, 1 Obelisk of Alara, 4 Goblin Electromancer, 3 Ground Assault, 24 lands, only 6 tap lands, so 25% tap lands, with 5 islands, 7 mountains, 6 forests, 1 red-blue land, 1 red-green land, hey look, another red-blue land, and of course the 3 Temur lands. And so since we also have an Obelisk, we have 2 instances of black and 1 instance of white, just because. Alright, so why play a land destruction deck? Or what goes into a land destruction deck? Really, when you're blowing up lands, considering most decks are, 40% lands, you're going to have more games where all you're doing is just setting them back a turn than actually just, fucking them over on their mana, like permanently. So, but we have the 3 Rifts, the 4 Demolishes, we have the 4 Mold Shamblers, and another thing, the Pestermite will tap down their land, so it's kind of like a pseudo, like I said, you're not so much destroying lands as you are just, setting them back a turn. And so, the support cards, if we're going to play Mold Shamblers, if this is going to blow up a land, that's actually, that mana cost is double green 4, so we want to cultivate into that. And then we have the Electromancers, so we can, turn 2 Mancer, turn 3 start blowing up lands. So that's really the core of the deck right there, to be able to, disrupt your opponent's mana and their tempo, and really, do it as fast and consistently as possible. Now, a lot of the problem I had, with that core right there, was actually closing out a game. So, originally, you'll see a lot of lists that run Pyromancer, Gutter Snipe, Talrand. But you also got to think, when are you playing those cards? It's usually after, you're playing your Mancer into land destruction. And, you don't really want to be playing those cards and then, playing your land destruction, because, by that time your opponent, is playing some shit out. So I found it better to just, after all the disruption happens, is to just kind of go big. So we have the Stormbreath, the Titan, the 2 Devils, which works with getting all our shit back, and the 1 Obelisk, and the 1 Banefire. It's always your catch-all. You blow it early, blow it late to win a game. And then on other spells, the trickiest thing, like when I was building this, was to get away from Think Twice. Now I know you're like, oh, you're running blue, you should run Think Twice. Like, I would rather just, like, not do anything turn 2 if I don't have an Electromancer than, just be drawing cards into just random cards. So I just put a bunch more removal in. I ran all 3 Ground Assaults, which is fine because we have Cultivate. And then, I have the Banefire. I run both Anger of the Gods. And you may say, like, that nukes our Pestermites, it nukes our Electromancers, it nukes our Mold Shamblers. But usually if that happens, you've already gotten value out of your Pestermite, Mancer, Mold Shambler, whatever. So that's a hit that I'm willing to take on that. Like, it's not going to hit the Dragon, the Titan, or the Devils. And, especially against the faster decks, like, you need this card. You absolutely need it. And then as far as the other spells, you got a Shock for, mostly just Rabblemaster, Pyromancer, shit like that. And eventually, you can start tapping out, hitting it with Ground Assault. And then 1 Peel from Reality. Like, I hate the card. I really do, because it's so easy to just get blown out by a removal spell. but I think it's a necessity, and like, you know, you could be safer and play a Vapor Snag or avoid Descend. But you know, there's enough, you know, buying back Pestermites or Mold Shamblers, or even, you know, if you're peeling back an Electromancer, it means you're only paying 1 blue for the peel. So you know, there's the Aura decks out there. You know, you always want to have at least some way to deal with them rather than just, you know, tapping them down forever with the Pestermite and eventually, you know, blowing up the Aura with Mold Shambler, or just straight out killing it with Ground Assault or Obelisk or Titan or whatever. So we go to the mana real quick. I was up to 8 tap lands, but it does make the mana a little bit easier, but it really does slow us down. So I dropped down to 6. So you'll see like our color distribution. It's mostly a Gruul deck. You know, we have the blue for the Pestermites, the Mancer, and the 1 peel. But you'll see we have like slightly more blue than green because it's more important to get that Electromancer down on turn 2 than it is to cultivate, you know, on turn 3 or you know, Mold Shambler on turn 6 or 5, depending on if you ramped into it or not. So yeah, so 6 tap lands, 12 regular lands. As far as blue goes, we have 6, 9, 10 blue sources. Green, we have 10 green sources. And then with the red, we have 9, 12, 13. So 13, 10, and 10. Usually the red is the least troublesome. But sometimes you get tripped up. You know, I'll have games where, you know, I'll have the Cultivate or the Ground Assault and I won't have hit a green yet. But, you know, it's the price you pay for 3-color decks. And let's see, anything else? Any other trickery? Well, like I said, as far as closing out games, like you can make use of your Electromancer and Mold Shamblers later in the game because the Tectonic Rifts, even though there's 3 of them, creatures without flying can't block this turn, so you can cash them in for damage. Your Obelisk can buff them up, you know, either to play really good defense or, you know, instead of using the red mode to deal 3 damage directly from the Obelisk, you're basically just using your creature to do an extra point of damage by using the +4/+4 mode, you know, on either a Mancer or a Shambler. But, you know, you always just be careful. You don't want to get blown out by removal or anything. Like I said, off our tap lands, we have, you know, 2 sources of black and 1 source of white, you know, just because. So we can have access to those other modes. But it's mostly going to be the red and the green mode for Obelisk. Every now and again the blue if you're desperate to dig for something. And also with the creatures can't block, it's also great with the Charmbreaker Devils. Really close out the game very quickly. And there any other tricks? Not really. I mean, you have the Stormbreath Dragon. Like, there really aren't too many great finishers, like, outside of these 3 in red. Like, you know, Shivan Dragon, Siege Dragon, Uvara Hellkite, like, just whatever. Like, you want to, like I said, once you're done disrupting them, then you want to close out the game, you know, pretty fast, because we have some pretty, they're eventually, you know, going to draw their lands again. So you can't just be dicking around, just, you know, blowing shit up forever. Like, you have to close out the game. So there's really nothing in green or blue that's really great at closing out the game. Yeah, there's still a Ravnica, there's still a Zendikar. I mean, there is some really big, beefy green creatures, but, you know, they're usually triple green, and I don't want to get caught up in all that nonsense. You know, sometimes it's hard to just get double green for Mold Shambler. And really, that is about it. So it's not the greatest thing in the world. Like I said, you know, when people think land destruction, you really just got to think of, you're just setting your opponent a turn behind, you know, probably 60-70% of the time. They're usually going to hit their land drops. But, you know, the games where they don't, then you're doing great. And that's another thing, you know, with the Monstrosity and the Stormbreath Dragon, you strand a bunch of cards in hand, then he'll close out a game pretty fast. But that, you know, that is 5 mana into 7 mana. And as far as the discounts on, you know, Electromancer, you know, he gets, for each Electromancer, it's 1 less to cast, so really we only get the discounts on the Cultivate, the red land destruction spells. You get a discount on Anger the Gods. So, you know, you could, you know, you can play a 5-drop and an Anger on 7. And you do get the discount on Banefire and Appeal from Reality. So not a whole lot of discounts there. Like I said, the hardest part was just to get away from Think Twice. You know, I was playing, you know, a rug deck, you know, everything, you know, you put in all the automatic stuff, and, you know, Think Twice is usually fairly automatic. But, you know, the more I tested it, I'm just like, okay, I'm just Think Twicing into what? You know, more land destruction on turn 6 or turn 7. Like, I'd rather just have more removal and more ways to close out the game. And with Think Twice out, like, there's really no really good reason to run the Pyromancers or the Gutter Snipes or the Talrons. And like I said, usually that's, you're playing Pyromancer, Gutter Snipe, you know, Talrons, then you're not really, you know, playing Pestermites or Electromancers into land destruction and whatnot. It's just kind of too slow, believe it or not. So that's the deck. I don't really think it's that great. I don't think the archetype is that great, actually, but this is, I worked on this a little bit over the weekend and a little bit today, and so this is where I'm at with it. And if you disagree, if you hate everything about it, or you want me to go check out somebody else's channel and be like, hey, they did it better than you, that's nice. Just, you know, we got 3 episodes of this coming, so, you know, at least like 5 to 7 games, and then you'll be able to judge then whether or not this is complete dog shit. But we shall see. Anyways, I'm going to stop recording right now. There's actually a British dude from some PC gaming magazine, some UK. He's actually doing he got a early beta code for Duel's Origins. He's playing it right now, but he's playing all like the intro stuff, the skill quests. So I figure I'll get this shit recorded first and go back to it. And hopefully by the time I go back to that stream, he's playing normal stuff. And I don't know, the guy's just kind of a little bit too excited about everything that's going on. Like, ooh, I saw him with the 2-1. Like, he's got to comment on every little thing. And I don't know, too much salt. I had too much salt to tolerate stuff like that. So hopefully by the time I get back, he's just, you know, building his own decks and playing against the random AI decks. So that's that. Thanks for tuning in, and stay tuned for episode 1. Should be up, you know, probably an hour after this goes up. Take care. Bye.